And so you're a creative expression of the infinite. You are you. You live and exist as pure energy. You're unique and different and wonderful. And you begin that right now. Right now.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Now What? It's been a few weeks since our last episode. Life happens, winter happens, things ebb and flow, but we're back today and in great spirits. We just got dumped on here in Michigan with some snow, so we're doing this episode remotely with Gail at her new home and me in the podcast studio, if you will. How you doing today, Gail?
I am well. I love these snowy days.
Me too.
It's so
Me too.
beautiful.
My partner Beth, she doesn't really like them very much. I'm like, well, just gotta bundle up. The secret is to just be prepared, dress warm, make sure you have everything you need to just hibernate.
Yeah,
Paint,
absolutely.
play. I have my guitar right here, so anytime I feel like it, I'm just like,
Nice. Yeah, and
so
I miss we did have to, close the church Sunday before last. This Sunday there was some snow, but not it wasn't, too egregious. So a lot of people showed up, which was great. And so during the week now I can work from home, which I've been doing because I live farther from the church, and the highway I go on 10 is generally one of the last ones to get much service on it. So yeah, and it's there's a lot of open fields and stuff. So if it's not windy anywhere else, it'll be windy on Route 10. I mean, crosswind windy. So I'm home and getting a lot done because yay for technology. And we get to do this podcast wherever we are. So that's pretty good.
So a lot of things have changed since the last podcast we did. Normally, we say this podcast is brought to you as part of a project through the Unity of Bay City. But Unity of Bay City is no longer Unity of Bay City. It's expanded. It's become something a little more true to the vision and mission of
Yes.
what we are trying to create there.
Right.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're Quest Unity, and the tagline is a journey of self-discovery.
Nice.
And so we are in the same building, and we are a Unity spiritual center. So in those ways, nothing has changed. And in consciousness and in the way we are progressing, evolving, lots have changed. It's, and it's an inclusive, evolving community. It's a place where we can learn how to deepen our spiritual understanding. And yeah, so, but it's an inclusive community that's evolving, and we learn how to deepen our understanding of our spiritual nature, and as individuals and collectively. So, a quest, I love that word because it's question. So we get to question everything, and I love to question everything. And it's also this discovery, and so we're very excited about the infusion of this what seems like a small change that has evolved. Unity has been in the Tri-Cities area for 80 years. The Unity movement, and it's around the world. There's Unity centers around the world, but it's been in this area and other areas of Michigan, not just this Tri-Cities, for 80 years. And we've been at the building we're at right now as Unity, formerly as Unity of Bay City. We've been there for 20 years. So in my 6 years that I've been here, I've been in Unity though since, I don't even want to tell you how many years, because then you'll think, wow, she's really old.
Well, I've been involved with Unity since I was about 11. So let's put that in perspective. That was 44 years ago.
Yeah. So I was probably about 50, 45 years ago that I got into Unity, but I wasn't that young. No, so doesn't matter. I was 50 when I went to ministerial school at Unity Village, and um,
I still think that's so awesome.
yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah. But I've been working in ministry for many, many moons, and I love it.
You know what's
Eh,
cool about that is that I'm sure, just the listener hearing that, that here's this person who at age 50 decided they wanted to go in a different direction. And because I know it's daunting. It's like when I think of taking on a new skill, I'm like, dude, I'm already 55 years old, you know? Well, it's what am I going to do? Just get it and then start applying it. And then like, bam, that's exactly what you did.
Yep.
You became a minister, and then now you're the leader of this community, or at least the an educator of this community here.
Yeah. Yeah. This spiritual leader, whatever we call it, doesn't matter because we're all in this together. And I did get my call to ministry when I was 17 years old. And so it's been me going through traditional religion to metaphysical stuff to positive thinking stuff, and then landed in religious science, which is basically the same doctrine as unity, the same ideas, metaphysics. And so I worked full time, raised my three kids, married for 44 years. When my youngest went to college, then I got to go to ministerial school. So um, yeah, so worked at Silent Unity in Missouri at Unity Village for 10 years as the director there. So steeped in prayer every day. It was pretty cool.
What's going on? What's new?
Well, we're in the season of Advent right now, and our Advent adventure. And, it's Advent means that it's the arrival, waiting for the arrival of something. And so, a lot of people don't really know that much about Advent. The church I grew up in, Church of Christ, we did Christmas, we did the whole thing, but we didn't do, like my best friend who was Lutheran, they had all these really cool Advent calendars, and they got to open one every day and have candy or a little prize in them. And our church didn't do that.
Oh,
But,
is that
I
the
mean,
ones like the calendar where you lift it up and it's
yeah,
like there's a little tab for every day of the month and you
yeah,
lift it up. Okay.
yeah. And there's,
Advent calendar.
so many different kinds. And now they're out there, just kind of mainstream. Nobody really understands the meaning of
Right.
it, but you don't really need to. But I was always I was like, Mom, why don't we have Advent calendars? My mother baked like crazy. We had wonderful Christmases, but we just didn't have an Advent calendar. Big deal, right?
Right.
But you see something, and but the Lutheran Church and the Catholic Church that my cousins went to, I'd go to. It was fun to go to some of those other ones to see, like all the kneeling and the reciting of things that we didn't do. I went to we kids went to Sunday school, came up, and we all sat in church together. And so the core of it was a Christian church, but I don't feel, like I missed something because we didn't have Advent calendars.
Right.
But so there's a lot of people that, and of course, different religions that are part of this Christmas season. Lots of folks who really don't ascribe to it being a Christian thing, even. It's a time of sharing and loving and gift giving and, having fun together.
Family
But,
time.
you don't, is important to me to let people know is that it doesn't matter if you don't know what Advent is or you've never celebrated Advent. It doesn't matter if, what your religion is or that you have none at all. Because remember, religion teaches us how to obey a certain,
Right.
supposed rules that somebody said that some God made. But you don't have to ascribe to any of that because it's just not that complicated.
Right.
We know at some level, all of us do. If we just take a moment, or just think about it, there's a peace within us. There's a place that's like we can we can recognize it, and we don't have to please anything or anyone. We don't have to appease it. We don't have to negotiate for a God out there somewhere or with a God out there somewhere. That presence and power is within us. And that's our 100% human and 100% divine. We're
Right.
both. And the human side is the hardest part, right?
When did Advent become a thing?
Oh, way back, the
Is it strictly
story.
religious, or is it something that Jesus taught? Or
Yeah, it was, well, the Advent means arrival,
okay,
waiting for the arrival, and waiting for the arrival of the birth of the Christ child.
okay, so it is biblical
Yeah,
in origin. Okay,
yeah. Eh, But remember, a lot of the Bible stuff, I mean, it's all stuff that people made up,
right, right,
stories that people made up about something that helped center as a human being, right? But sadly, religions also brought in a lot of fear and those kind of things, some religion. But because we call ourselves a spiritual center, and as New Thought or metaphysical centers do. But so, yeah, they were waiting for the advent of this Christ child. And Christ, when you look at it metaphysically, it's just a light that's in all of us. It wasn't Jesus's last name.
right.
He was a little boy, like you were a little boy, like I was a little girl, grew up as a kid and had curiosities. He was curious. There's one, I don't know, it's a story, but there's some historical documents that he would go when he was like probably 12 or so to sit and listen to some of the great thinkers of the day, the philosophers, and Greeks, I mean, because he was right there, like Jerusalem area, but also more like in Iraq area. There was a diaspora, a lot of different cultures there. And so he'd listen in. That's how one of the stories of Jesus goes. But what we get to do during Christmas is have some fun. It can be a very sad, lonely time for some people. It can be a great time to get together, but we don't have to do this to appease or please any kind of deity, right? There's an energy that's non-judgmental in its principles, just like gravity is a physical principle that doesn't change, and so is spirituality. There's spiritual principles that are always humming there. It's really, and the word in Latin of Advent means arrival. And it also, the word Advent gave birth to another word that is one of my favorites, is adventure, right? So it's an adventure in our spiritual growth, and we don't have to wait for something. We just have to work it.
Buy the
Yeah.
ticket, take the ride.
Yeah. Yeah. A journey of self-discovery, a journey, a quest, an adventure. So it'll have a personal meaning and significance if it's kind of cool to do these things like we do during Lent and those other constructs from religion. But there's a unity in that, the atmosphere of the people, of so many of us that are like, oh, okay, we can move into that mode, just like wintertime. Wintertime slows us down in this part of the world anyway, and this time of the year. But there's always seasons. And so we get to kind of sink into this a little bit. And we know that there's millions of people that are also in this period of time. So it gives rise to, everything when we kind of, I'll say, play along. We're not going to ignore this wonderful energy,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, why would we? I mean, some people do. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, I want to have nothing to do with the holidays.
Exactly.
It's like, well, that's your bad, man. That's
Yeah.
not my story. You know?
And so Eric Butterworth is a really prominent, was, um, he's on the other side of life now, but he wrote a lot of books and was really insightful. He said this about this season. He said, if this season is to mean anything more than an annual holiday charade, which becomes a pressure-packed and conformity-ridden Christmas celebration, we must take the risk of personal commitment to the discovery of the divine level within our being. It is that we refer to as the great adventure of a lifetime. So yeah, I liked that. So we can take this season and help us, we know, like, especially at like a Unity Church or a New Thought Church, where we go a little deeper than having to look up into the sky to God, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong or better or worse. It's just where we're at. So we were born with the presence of power, the light within us, and we're simply learning how to turn that light on and let it shine in us and in this world, right? So Christ is not Jesus's last name, let me just say. It's a light, but you can call it, we can call it anything we want. But he had brothers and sisters, and he had a wife and couple of kids, and there's people who channeled Jesus. Well, the Course in Miracles was a channeled work, and there's new ones now, mediums that are channeling. So he was a man. My Bible teacher in ministerial school, seminary, said, there's a lot of scholars that say he is a composite of many men and women during those hundreds of years where all of this was being, light was starting to dawn on people, that they didn't have to be afraid of this deity in the sky or of the priest or of the, and so I'll tell you though, when she said that, one of the gals in my class, in that classroom, started just sobbing, because she's like, wait, he wasn't a composite. He was this man. But because I had feel like a personal relationship, I guess you can say, because we can have relationships with those who are on the other side of life.
Now, when you say a composite, is that like an amalgamation of different beliefs and philosophies bestowed to one person, one deity, or like what do you mean by a composite?
No, it was a lot of men and women who were feeling the same way he was, and teaching in the same way he was. Right. And it just got all glommed together as this story.
Yeah, okay.
Of a virgin birth and all of those things. But it was actually a renaissance of spirituality. People were waking up a little bit to, wait a minute, how I act and how I react is mine to do. How I love somebody, or how I try to get along, love your neighbor as yourself, all that stuff. That was being taught by more than people than just Jesus.
Interesting. It's quite controversial.
Yeah.
I've heard conversations about it going both directions. I've heard the pros and the cons, to those who believe and don't believe, about how the story of Christ and the virgin birth and the kings coming to visit, the sages, mages, whatever, magi. The 12 disciples, the actually going down to like the time of the year that he was born, like that whole story has been repeated over and over and over again, from going to, back to the Egyptians and the Sumerians, and how there's like slices of that story that like layer up on top of. And then I've also heard that there was actually, and I saw this map once on a documentary that I was watching, and I wish I could remember the name of it, that actually showed, like, okay, so this was like, there's like this map of the whole region, and it showed where Christ was, But then they also said, but there was also this quote unquote Messiah here. There was another one over here. There was another one over here.
Yep.
And then they ended up like superimposing like 30 some different people
Yeah.
that were like cult leaders, if you will, or spiritual leaders, if you will, at the exact same time sharing a very similar message.
That's exactly what I was just saying.
Yeah.
It was, so the composite story ended up in this Bible that we call this Bible, like it was written by God, which again is another part of mythology, really. And you're right, because Buddha was around 500 years before Jesus,
Right.
and before Buddha, there were similar and more. I like to call them mystics, that saw things. They would get quiet, or they would notice nature. Nature inspired most of them, and they saw it differently. They felt it differently. They knew that having dictators and all these weird laws and stuff weren't really good for humankind. It was just about control.
I think of it as a couple different ways. Almost like each one of those philosophies and belief systems is another dot on the connect the dots,
Yeah.
of what is the big picture. And then I also kind of look at it as kind of like when you're trying to get a picture that's not focused clear, you add these different layers and filters, and you take things away and you add things, and it's like every layer of information or data that you provide gets that picture to be a little more clear. Yeah. And there was the Buddhist layer, and the Krishna layer, and the Christian layer, and the Islamic layer,
and the Jewish layer, and I mean, the first 5 books of our Christian Bible is the Jewish Bible. The Torah is the first 5 books of what we call the Christian Bible. It's like, okay, how contradictory is that? We make it all up, and sometimes it's just from a place of ego, from a place of our intellect, and then we know when that spark of the divinity, because we're both. We were born as spiritual beings, having this, and it seems so overused, but it's a good term, having a human experience. And as children, we are pure and beautiful and know this, and then we were brought up in so many different situations. So then we have to start figuring it out again, like Jesus did when he was a little boy, and all the crap that was going on, when he was growing up. So we have to do the same thing. We're on that same journey. Really, we're on the same journey. We're just in a different era.
Unfortunately, some of this story has been omitted, and some of it has been made up for the purpose of control and manipulation.
Absolutely.
It's sad to say, that a lot of it has been.
Yeah. If you don't do this, you're going to go to hell.
Yeah.
And if you want to get to heaven, you're going to have to do this way. And
right.
That's just fading away a little bit.
Right. But, well, one of the freedoms that we have, and I'm sure everyone had it, they just weren't able to speak it, was to know intuitively, regardless of the brain fog or brain confusion or the distractions that are provided, we know what we feel in our hearts.
Yeah.
Which is where meditation comes in, I think.
Yeah.
It's like that's when you're opening yourself up to feel what's real for you.
Yes.
Outside of the distraction. So
that's where spiritual practices come in, and that's what Unity and other New Thought organizations, metaphysical, whatever you want to call it, metaphysicals, beyond the physical. And who knows, as kids, how we hear it and what we interpret. But spiritual practices help us take down the lead-lined walls that we have to put up as we grow up and hear things and figure it out. But there's fear and guilt and shame and blame and anger, and we can dissolve those and around anything, our good deeds to our questionable decisions. So we don't stop being human. So we don't get there. We're human, but we'll continue to question, and we can look around and say, could I do this a different way? And that's where your spiritual nature, but it's not keeping score, right? The presence and power is the love in you no matter what. Each moment is a new beginning. It's not bad or sad to be a Christian, a Jew, or a Muslim, or a truth student of metaphysics, and on and on and on. The Advent is an expectation, a preparation, if we want to play that part. But it's every day of the year, every moment, every breath. We get to discover a deeper way of living. You know, we don't have to be good today, but we strive for that because it sure feels better when we're have moments of clarity and a deeper level of understanding of our eternal self, our soul. Think of that. You know, it's that light within us, that Christ light, whatever. We don't have to name it, but we like to. So the human understanding of Advent is a personal construct than it's not a divine one. It's not that kind of striving. Charles Fillmore, one of our co-founders at Unity, says he assured listeners that the kingdom of God is within you, and that is the more we search for that inner kingdom, the more we'll know about the second coming. Second coming, Fillmore said, is right here and right now. It's right here, right now. It's every bit. The outer world, Scott, doesn't it just take up most of our time and our energy?
Yeah.
So then we get to create time to rest, like snow days. We get to breathe deeply. We allow your very soul, your light, to soothe you and shine lights on your thoughts, to pull you out of this human dilemma and allow yourself to come to new conclusions if that's what's called for. As absolutely remarkable as it is to fly to the moon, climb every mountain, cure diseases, but can we dare to spend some time in reflection of the inner quest, our inner quest that truly guide us to inner and outer peace?
It's what you look at is what you're going to see.
Yeah.
You
know, and then I'm going to talk about love next week. The Advent word is love, and what we humans do to that. So and animals are one of our most beautiful examples, just like Mother Nature outside is, of what spirituality really is, of what our truth is. The human body doesn't last all that long,
right.
But our spirit does. It's eternal, and who knows how many times we're going to take this human journey in different incarnations or whatever you believe. But you know, when we take time to pay attention to our own divinity, I'm telling you, Scott, it's not complicated. It's not something to believe in. It's something to rely on, to know and to practice. Whatever name you give it, God, Spirit, Soul, Christ, Light, Buddha, tree, flower, cat, omnipresence abides within us all by whatever name all the time. And the spiritual practices are simple and uncomplicated. You can make them as big and complicated as you want, but if you just sit down, soul and human, you're two aspects of the same light, and that's the arrival of your spiritual understanding. It's just a breath away. Just taking time, and I use this phrase a lot, little and often. Just little and often. And move yourself into your inner space, your inner light, soul and human, same light. And so you're a creative expression of the infinite. You are you. You live and exist as pure energy. You're unique and different and wonderful. And you begin that right now. Right now. So it really is all about the power of now, as Eckhart Tolle said. So there it is.
Well, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. If you would just take a second to click that like or subscribe button, it really does a lot to help us. And, hopefully we'll get back in the habit of doing these every week. Now that winter is settling in, and there's other things that are going on. Like we're currently, looking for a house to buy, which is pretty exciting. We've looked at a number of different houses, and it's things are growing. So put some positive vibes out there that we find the right home and the perfect spot to grow into, and share this episode with your friends. Very good.
What we focus on in life expands.
Yeah.
So pay attention to your thoughts and what you're focusing on in your life. And if there's things that are just not working, maybe try shifting your attention a bit. You meaning all of us. I have that's a practice. It's like, I don't like this. Well, then what are you thinking about? What we focus on expands. So let's expand a beautiful home for you and Beth that you can absolutely enjoy and have as many cats as you want.
Two.
I think that's probably wise.
Thank you so much,
right.
Gail, and
Thanks.
bless, and
Thanks, everybody. All right.